Anyways, welcome back. This is AVA the podcast. I'm your host, Ava Ojo, and today we're talking about friendships. I am in the No Do studio. I think I'm realizing I don't actually understand how friendship is supposed to work. And this session is inspired by Love by the Book by Jessica George. And it's about two platonic friendships meeting for the first time. And you just take on that journey with them. And I just saw myself in each character. I'm turning 26 in 2 days, and I'm getting to a point in my life where my age is starting to look a little serious, right? My whole goal this year was like, okay, let's create a village. Let's meet people. Let's make connections. Even though we feel hurt from past friendship breakups, let's try to meet new people and open up, because I'm a kind of person who's always been like, I don't ask for help. I'm like stubborn in that way. And I've tried with therapy, to undo that or whatever, but I really just feel like it's the way that I'm wired. The way that I've survived this world is being hyper independent and knowing my ground and just figuring it out on my own. Personally, it has been a journey in itself for friendships. I've been through friendship breakups where I saw it coming, but I didn't really notice it. Like, I didn't really want to notice that or be aware of, okay, this may not be working for me anymore, because I was scared about letting them go. Or I was like, I grew up, watching movies about friendships lasting forever. And I've always had this thing, and I don't know if this is only me, but I grew up with the saying that you are your best friend. To me, that just really meant that, well, everyone that you know is like your acquaintance, and that you aren't really able to trust anybody because that your family are the people that have your back. But growing up with having your family as your backbone, I tend to just like count on them more than friends and open up to them more about my life than my friends. And I am a transplant kid, and so I moved around a lot in my life. And my first friendship breakup when I was in 4th grade, and yeah, I know it's like so young, like, oh my gosh, you're a child, but I believe that's really where the psyche part of friends and like closeness and togetherness came through me. And I've been told like I am just a kind of person who's very wants like people together and be together, and like I love that feeling of belonging, which I've had a hard time growing up in. But having my first friendship breakup, I had to go through with it because I had to move away. And I believe at that age, 4th grade, or you're like 8 or 9, and I feel like when you're in that age, you don't really understand how long-term choices affect you. So the decision of my parents moving us across the country, I, as a child, I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna see this friend again. What do you mean I'm not gonna come back and not ever see them again? I was thrown into a whole new culture and a whole new environment where I was thrown so many different backgrounds, and I found my friends again through Girl Scouts and through a different community, and I found mother-like figures and women who just guided me to who I am today. The start to my stories with friendships, I grew up watching Disney Channel. I'm not a Disney adult. I just grew up watching, like Hannah Montana, That's So Raven. What else? Like Princess Diaries. I'd watch Blue's Clues. I'd watch stories, even Dora Explorer. Like, I really felt a connection to her, even though I'm not Hispanic. I felt like I was Dora and like my brother was Boots, and we're just trying to go on an adventure and also go to grandma's house. But in these stories that I watched growing up as a kid, there was always a companion, and I was so looking forward to when I would move, was like, who's going to be my new friend? Like, who's going to be this new person that I'm going to meet, and where have they been all my life, and all these things. And as more I move, the more I feel like I may have closed off people, because I realized these people are not going to be in my life forever. As I'm coming to this year of shedding, because for me, and this is for you guys to like look into, like what year you're in. So there's 9 years. Basically, it's a 9-year life cycle. And right now, I've been year 8. Interestingly enough, the world last year was in the year of the snake. And I was still in my year 7, which is a very slow paced year, but it's extremely difficult. My year 8, that's really when like the old kind of thinking, pattern thinking is being shredded and brought into this new thinking. And so going into my year 9 next year, there's more movement, and I'm anticipating for this and getting ready for what that looks like for myself, because it's just been such a shedding, shredding, talking, exfoliating kind of time for me. It's also been a time of a lot of isolation, and but also being in solitude with myself and with my thoughts, and processing mental health, and seeing that and seeing how that has affected me. Questioning like why I attract certain kinds of characteristics or certain kinds of people, or I tolerate certain kind of relationships for what. So going back to my friendship breakup, that brought low-key like delayed grief, because as you like as I moved to like a new school or a new town or a new city, a new set of friends. And so in high school, I moved my junior year. I feel like that was just like a built up of just like so much grief, so much delayed grief, that the subconscious and like my maturity didn't really understand it until, of course, like 10 years later, when my brain is developing and I'm like taking into this, and I'm no longer in my like younger development stage anymore. I went through 7 months of depression, and I say that like when I moved from the East Coast to the Midwest, I tell people, because they ask me like, why did you move there? And that's the question always. But my experience was literally like, I felt so isolated. I felt so alone. And when I was meeting people my junior year, it's like the Midwest, it's so like, I'm telling you, it's traditional here. People get married at a young age. People start having kids. People own houses. And when I talk about people, I'm talking like literally like your friends that you meet in college get married right out of college. They have their job in a tech company, or they have it in a corporate setting. And it's that kind of lifestyle here. And you can have that because the Midwest provides that for you. I know I was grieving wanting to go back to the East Coast. I was grieving also like I was just like, there's so many white people here. I was like, how am I going to do this? Like, I know my identity changed when I came to the Midwest, because now I'm like visco girl at all. And then, I'm going to football games. I'm like, I don't even care about sports. I ended up like ghosting everybody from high school. And that decision was really made because my connection wasn't as deep, because it was only 2 years. So I really just like left everybody. Like I unfollowed a bunch of people. I saw the opportunity of moving to Oregon as just like an opportunity to like start fresh and to be with people that are like my kind of people. And that's what it was. That's what it is. Like that grief sort of kind of went away, and I realized I can make friends so much easier in the Pacific West. Like I remember going and like meeting people that are just on the same wavelength, and maybe that's just because of, again, culture and just how the people are from the West Coast. And I was just meeting so many people left to right, because in your early 20s, like you are just meeting so many people. I mean, there's a reason why you have Snapchat, because you literally feel like you're friends with everybody and you know everyone. And I mean, it also showed me how proximity is so important in friendship, because I had a friend group there and we were just so close. I felt seen because my friend group was so diverse also, and I feel like diversity plays a big part in it too, because again, this culture factor of just like not shallowness. And I think that's a really big thing. Like I've been trying so hard to fit into the shallow box of like aesthetic, and everything's about the gram and like how I look and being like sexy enough for a man to like come up to me and wanting to fit the standard. And I found my place with these girls because we were all like different, and they became, I mean, literally like my sisters, and we talked about life together, and we talked about like what we want to be, and we just spent our days together, and it was so easy. Like it was just, there just came this ease with being a friend. And I think at that point I was like, maybe I could have a best friend. Like maybe this could be my best friend. Like maybe this is what it's supposed to be. Like this is going to be forever. And that's this thing of this concept of like you really think that everything's going to last, but really it is true. Good things do come to an end, and this too shall pass is such a solid piece of advice that I've taken with me through my college and development years. But how I felt, I mean, like those friends that I had each step of the way are there for a reason, and they were a reflection of myself as well. What are the friends that I made freshman year? I mean, completely different because I transferred schools and I sort of kind of let that subside and I just like let that go. And then then after that, so my sophomore year, I made another friend group, and that friend group was, I feel like how it was produced, I was part of a sorority, and don't even get me started on like, okay, like, being whitewashed or whatever, like please. I just have a different experience and I've just used that in a different way, and this was a teaching point for me and a lesson. And I know some people are probably like rolling their eyes like, girl, like you should have known like about being in a completely white space, and how there's also like the values of that culture that is very lifted there, like being thin or being blonde and all these things. But to be honest, I was searching for community, and I was searching for a space like Girl Scouts that provided me that sisterhood, and that was my intent. And of course I met very shallow women along the way, but that sort of kind of taught me through life now that everything is recruitment. Like every person you talk to is recruitment. You read people, by their first time reacting and by their first interaction. And the sorority taught me with friends that was like a structure in place to make friends, because after leaving the dormitory, you have the option to either stay with the friends that you made in your dorm or to expand out, right? And to meet more people and to meet your people. And so I did. And this is when I had the chance to explore what a big friend group was, because there was 7 of us and we were the core group. And what I learned in a big friend group is that you can pass by those big friend groups and it is like Real Housewives. Like it is like reality TV. I think reality TV, of course, it's a production, but the way that it pictures friendships, it's true. Like everyone else has their own relationship with every other person. There is drama. There's one week where literally we alternate who we hate each other week, and that's true. I was still living in that world of like, I'm gonna get married and then I'm gonna have 10 bridesmaids and I'm gonna have 10 groomsmen, and my sorority's gonna give me that because that's what I was paying for. But in reality, I was looking at it, I was like, that is such a surface level intention, because the work that goes behind it is so much deeper. That was a big friendship breakup for me, because I was still, I would say, it's not that I was sick. I was just still, no, I would say, no. The alcohol and the partying clouded my judgment of people and who I surrounded myself with. And so when I stopped doing that and I had the chance to basically recover, I was like, okay, you know what? This is not for me. This is not something that I need, and I don't want to be friends anymore. And that was that. And so I exited I didn't leave quite beautifully, I'd say that, and I have apologized to the person that I hurt, but I realized that I was hurt also, just how this whole time I thought I was something to them, but I realized that I held the place of being like the clown of the group and the kind of person who is always laughing and is always, you come to AVA for it, and hearing these stories that they'd go through, and I'm like, this is really a codependent relationship where it's like, why are you, don't stress about this stuff, because boys in relationships, I mean, they come and go, and to be real, I just have had this discernment that men in college just do not want marriage, especially if you go to a school that doesn't like support that. If you go to a Christian school or like a Catholic or, like if that's supported, right, that is probably going to happen. But if you go to a liberal arts school, I mean, what do you expect? These men to get down on one knee and to be faithful. And it's just like, what are you talking about? So there'd be a lot of one-on-one conversations. And this is by choice, okay? I'm not saying that I'm a victim here. This is by choice because it's what I know. It's what I know how to be a friend or how that looks, right? Because that's like, okay, well, what I did was like I looked around because moving around and being a transplant, you get very well at being a chameleon and seeing where there's lack. So I saw where there was lack is there's not a lot of people that listen. There's not a lot of people that just are curious without being judged. There are not a lot of people that I saw that were safe, and I saw just a lack of like a lot of people were going through stuff, and I was like, well, maybe I can be the mediator friend. When I moved to the East Coast, because I was such a shy kid that for me it was hard to make friends. So really it was more like I became the listener and I became the guider, the person who guides. And I mean, being the eldest daughter, I mean, come on. There's so many videos about eldest children having this co-parenting kind of mindset where it's just, I'm used to mediating and I'm used to being the responsible one and being the one who is accountable. And so I took that on because I think I know that what I was practicing in my home, I practiced to my friends. So I was like, okay, so this is how Ava's going to be a friend to people. And I have to see this, and this is a really beautiful part, because as I was doing that, I was losing myself as a friend, and coming to now 25, 26, I'm like, I was a horrible friend to myself because of how I woke up in the morning, how I treated myself, how I put other people first. Because I feel like this comes from a sense, one of these comedians, I forgot her name. She's a lesbian with those clear glasses and a slick back ponytail. And she was talking about growing up in poverty and how now that she's rich, because I mean, she's like just being successful in the comedian sector, that she's realized that like rich people are very, for example, they just have weird rules, right? So it's like if they have a fridge, no one's supposed to go in the fridge. As for when you grow up in poverty, if you have a fridge, you can take whatever. It's a communal kind of thinking that we all share here. And so I feel like growing up in that kind of state of not having a lot, I learned that, okay, we can all benefit from each other by giving for each other. And I believe the wake up call of that not everyone is a giver, came to me when I made those friends in the sorority, because I thought that I was giving because the intention is you're going to be my friend forever, right? That's just going to be it. And that just wasn't the story for me. I wanted to go into some stories even that we watch online, or friendships that the market or the entertainment industry uphold in this society, like Hailey Bieber and Kendall Jenner, or how with Jordan Woods and Kylie Jenner, that have been like put on a pedestal that we're just like, oh, I wish I could be a part of and do this. Or even friendships in Sex and the City. I was like, I want to have my Samantha, I want to have my Charlotte, and I want to have like my Sabbath, right? Like we come together in New York City and we talk about sex and our boys and like who we're going out with, and like we help each other out. But I realized that this is all a story. Even watching the show Friends, now I even have a hard time watching that show, because there's this episode where Monica is the one, I believe it's the one where she, like, what happens if she didn't ever lose the weight. And that was a point to me, because honestly, from Monica going from shoot, what I would say like 330 pounds, like that fat suit was, to literally a size zero, is low key concerning. Like, it's low key concerning coming from like being in ED recovery, because it's like, okay, well then what happened to all the loose skin? Like, it's not a real weight loss journey when I think about it. And when they made fun of it, like Chandler was saying, like, I wouldn't like date you if you were a fat woman. This sort of kind of turned me off. And also the fact that like there's just like no POCs and friends. I was like, it's just a hard show to watch now, because I just don't see myself in the characters anymore. I used to. I watched it because it was like a hope for me to watch something and be like, I can look forward to that. And now that I had that reality check of having a big friend group, I was like, I think it's different for everyone. Like, I don't really think that's coming. I don't really see that coming for me, because I've realized that friendships, like big friendship groups, just don't work for me. That's really due to the fact I believe I am a gypsy soul, meaning that I travel. Because of how I have grown up and the influences of that, I'm comfortable with letting people go. And I'm comfortable with the fact that, yeah, maybe I might not see you ever again. And our time together was no time wasted. And I'm so grateful to have met you in my life. And I don't mind that. And so I feel like with this way that friends have been portrayed, right? It's like a placeholder, right? Like a placeholder until I meet the one. Because now this is the next thing we're going to get into, is this whole thing about the romantic love and this idea of when I meet the one, right? What happens to my friends? And this is where it's like, okay, like how do friendships work now? Because no longer is it we meet at the playground, we exchange goldfish for Oreos, or I have to text my mom when we're going to have a play date. Now it's like, okay, if I delete Instagram, I'm low key, I won't talk to anybody. I basically have no friends because I communicate through there so much. And I realized I don't even have everyone's phone number. I even text through Instagram, I call through Instagram, because now it's been that third space to just have that place like separate from my phone number. And people who do have my phone number, it's really trusted people. And with my friendships, being now older, okay, I was a chameleon, I could adapt. Being a gypsy soul, you are okay with letting people go. And now I'm seeing this grief that I had when I was younger, right? So the grief that I had about, okay, I'm not going to see you again. This is probably going to be the last time I'll ever see you. Or I didn't understand what long-term friendship was or what that looked like. I didn't really have the tools like Snapchat or Instagram to connect with those friends. Of course, now I do now, but I just saw that as, okay, that's it. Now in 2026, I have friends that are getting married. I have friends that will eventually become moms. I have friends that will eventually become CEOs or founders of their own company or directors or working at so-and-so. Like, now I have all these friends from all different paths of life. But the main thing is like, the main goal that everyone I feel like is going towards is like, I will get married one day. And when I do get married one day, it will change between you and I. And I sense that, I think it's like anticipated grief. It's like with your dogs, right? I have 2 English bulldogs, Otis and Winslow. And I look at them, and the biggest heartbreak they're going to give me is the day that they pass. And I know that will destroy me. And I think about it every day. But I think about my friend who is going to be engaged soon. It's just, what is that going to look like for the both of us, and how are we going to make this work? Because if we're always talking about Sammy, or if we're, going on Sammy's time or your time, how does that balance? And I think one thing that I didn't realize, and when I was reading Love by the Book, was that there's this thing that's not said, where I didn't know that friends would move on, like without letting me know. In a way, there's just this assumption that, okay, once you find the love of your life, you just move on and you move forward and you go with people who are married, or people with kids, or people that are going that route, right? And it sucks, because it's like the identity shift changes, but it's like, that person, and that person sparked a light in you, and that person moved you and was someone to you in that time. And I just really disagree that platonic and romantic relationships, I believe that there is a need for platonic, and that we need to stop treating platonic relationships as a placeholder or a practice run, because I see that platonic relationships are the ones that are the most like validating, most valuable, most learning kind of relationships to have, because this person you just met, and these people can be like, you get to decide where this person is in your life. You get to decide what they hold for you, and you get to decide their accessibility to you. And I think that comes with me going into the set of just sitting back when I speak to some of my friends, because they're all in different phases of lives. And it's honestly also beautiful to be in this space, to be like, yeah, I have friends, because a year ago from now, I did not have friends. I did not have people that I could just text and like go out for a walk or go to the farmer's market. And that's something that I'm like, I really planted that seed, and I came out of my bubble and I made it a point, an intent, and I don't care if it looks like I'm being like desperate. I'm just like, I'm going to have to be the first to initiate. And if I am, I am. And then eventually, if that's going to be always the case, then I'll have to reevaluate the friendship and be like, okay, we're going to learn. But I've decided the fact that like, I think it's just okay with this grief that I'm holding. It's okay to have it. I feel like maybe everyone's feeling it, and I guess no one's really saying it, but it's like, yeah, you are going to move on. Like when you get married, you may not text me as much. You may not heart my friend's story and like swipe up and be like, oh my gosh, remember the time? Like you may not do that, because you're in a different phase of your life. And me, when I even talk about my first friend group, even with my friends that I have had that are now like in their different points of life, we'll just recalibrate. They still hold a part of me that I once was. And I know that with whoever, listen, the friendships breakups that I've been through, the ones that I apologize for, I took accountability for my actions, because I knew deep down in my core, that's not how I am as a person. I allowed this person to get to me so deep. And I was like, you know what? The way that you've been treating me is just not okay. And I apologize for the way that I stated it, but not what I said. I apologize for the way that I behaved, but there's still a reason why I said it, and you have to see that reason. And if they don't, they don't, but you move on. And I didn't expect an apology. I didn't expect that. I mean, I hoped, yeah, like maybe like if this friendship is, but the reason why I did it is because of myself, because it kept on coming back to me when that friendship broke, when my second friendship, no, I've had 3. I've had actually multiple. When the big friendship group broke up, that was a sign for me where that breakup was probably more detrimental, because I thought that it was something that obviously it just wasn't. And that's just coming to me with just practice. And it's not a red flag that I've had friendship breakups, because it's a sign for me that I've learned a lot, and I'm careful who I call a friend. And when I call someone a friend, I'm so dead ass. I've been told that I've had this golden retriever energy. I'm not a dog, first of all. I'm a human being. And isn't it good to be loyal? Like, isn't it good to be excited to see people? Because we don't ever know when our last day is on this planet. Anyways, that just pisses me off. But I am loyal to people, and I know that about myself, and I see that about myself, and I wasn't loyal to myself in that relationship, in that whole friend group. And in the one previously, I mean, I was figuring out who Ava was, and I still am figuring out who Ava is. But by planting the seed of making new friends, because since the pandemic, I literally had zero. Like, I talked to nobody. The only people I talked to were my family. The only people that I would hang out with were my family. And I thought it was something wrong with me. Like, I thought, looking on social media, like, I'm supposed to have friends, you know, since people are supposed to be in their 20s and you're supposed to have this, you're supposed to, in all these television shows and these reality TV shows, I feel like you have to realize when you watch these shows, it's only a moment in time. It's not ever forever. And what's beautiful is about those women who I met all through my college years and all through my young development years. I know that they remember part of themselves within me and vice versa. So that's not going to ever be taken away. I just really want to push this thing as, no, check in on your friends. Don't always be the one to not initiate. Like, be the one to initiate. Because I was talking with my other friend the other day about, we're just in this dystopia that I feel that some people in their young development phase of life for 2 years, like, they did not practice that part in their brain of cognitive, like, senses, talking to people and making conversation and creating that community. And that's why people are just wanting a sense of belonging and pushing this community and creative space, is because we just didn't practice it. And that's why it's so hard. And they talk about in the male loneliness epidemic, which I have a take on that, where it's just like, I get the males are lonely, but like, why does it only have to be males? Like, it's everybody. Everybody is lonely. But I took this perspective where it was like, well, maybe it's not that. Maybe it's that just like males don't know how to cope. But also it's like, who set that system up? I'm like, why do I have to feel bad? But to redirect that, it's like, as an epidemic of being lonely, do people know how to be friends? Like, do people not understand that, okay, if I don't text you back after 2-3 weeks, like, are you okay? Are you good? Like, what does that look like? If you don't respond to me after 3 months, I just would think that we're just done. Like, I get it. I'm done. You don't like me and I moved on. I've tried that with some people and I'm just like, okay, so we're just not friends anymore. And that's okay. And maybe that's a way of ghosting, and maybe that's just a way of them just like moving on. But in a sense of, what does friendships look like now, and how do I be a friend? I still don't know. I sit with myself and I'm like, well, then how can I just show up for this person? I guess, like, do I just be me? Like, sometimes some people pull out the silly Ava in me. Some people pull out the Zen Ava in me. Some people pull out like just parts of me where I enjoyed that I see myself. And I think that's a thing, like, because I'm very close with my brother, and right now we're going through a kind of change, and we're going through a phase right now of, it just looks different because now he has a partner, and my brother like brings out parts of me that I can just be myself without being scared of him leaving me, or like him just completely disregarding me, because there's just this foundation that we're brother and sister and we're tight, and it's just like, no matter what, I'm still going to resort back to you. But I feel like he's now in his 20s and I'm coming closer to my late 20s, is that we're trying to find what that looks like for us, and how I can be a friend for my brother and also a sibling at the same time, but not as an elder sibling. To pivot is that when your siblings are like your friends or the people that you call on and they're really there for you, it's like, there's going to be loops that you're going to go through with your sibling. And that's what I've been going through with my brother, because he's processing his childhood, his ways of life, and also managing a life far away. And I'm missing him because I'm missing that security and that stability that he provided for me, like being close by and being in high school. And now he's like his own individual and he doesn't need someone always lecturing him or nagging him. So it's just changing for me, and it feels so uncomfortable. And I feel like I've just been so uncomfortable ever since I've graduated college. I've been uncomfortable in a sense of like, I don't know how to ride this horse. I really don't know how to ride it. It's a challenge. I don't know in a sense of okay. I don't want to say I don't know because I do know. It's that we are in a new territory as to what I do now. So what used to provide that kind of safety net for me, or what used to provide that source, or how I used to be a friend, is no longer needed in this next phase of my life. Point blank, period. And I'm not able to articulate the best way to state how that will look, because I honestly I don't want to say I don't know. I honestly believe that it's going to take some time and new repetition and new practice as to what that looks like for me. Because now I've altered into like, Ava, how are we friends to ourselves? Like, how are you taking care of yourself? Because I can be a bunch of so many people and still feel freaking lonely, and I can still feel down about myself and hate my life and all this stuff, and like have this energy of just negativity and just still be unhappy. And it's more just the answer to what this looks like for me. But I feel like it's important. It's important to have different friends in different phases, and don't ever compare. Oh my gosh, guys, the amount of times sometimes when I talk to like a new acquaintance and I know that we're probably just gonna eventually be friends, I look at their life and I'm like, why do I feel like you've had it all figured out? Why do I feel like you're a mother and you're getting married and like you are all figured out? Like how awesome is that? And then I'm like, you know what? I have to take a step back, because people don't want to be in my shoes and I don't want to be in their shoes. And I have no idea what it is to be in their shoes. And to be a friend is really, that's what I love about Girl Scouts and what has grounded me. Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and one is gold. And a circle is round and has no ends, right? So that's how long I'm going to be your friend. I think that's how I'm going to conclude this session with you guys. I just know that it's just going to be a circle, and I'm going to make new friends and I'll have old friends and they're going to see parts of me. And I know that it's a beautiful thing, because at the end of the road, my grandfather, his analogy for life was a caboose train. So no, a train, right? And then there's like all these cabooses. So there's parts of you in every caboose. And so he would say life is just beautiful nonsense and that it's just a long train. And I just see that in where I'm at now. Yeah, Ava, I have a vision for where I want to be in 5 years. I hope I have my health. I hope I have my loved ones that I still have today, right? But I think I'm going to try. No, it's just still hard. It's still hard to be like, yeah, I don't want a romantic relationship. No, I don't, you know why I don't want one right now? Honestly, is because I just don't feel like I'm stable. And I don't want to hurt more people. Like, I know that, oh yeah, you're in your prime time. Like, shut up, leave me alone. I know this is not my first time on this planet. And I know that if there is a soul for me, if you look at your palm on the side of your right hand palm, or your writing palm, okay, whatever hand you write with, right? Look on the side. And right below your pinky, should be lines. There's a middle line and the pinky line. And it tells you, okay, how many partnerships or souls, like, you know, like romance. And for me, it's saying 2, okay? And they're solid. They're 2 solid times. But the second one is like cut off in a way, which may just mean I might get married once and then get together with a second person for half the time and then get back together. I have no idea. But it's saying 2. So, you know, there's someone out there for me and I don't want to be in the lack. And it's hard. It's hard when you have a friend, they're like, I'm getting engaged. And I pinch my nose. I'm like, man, don't leave me. Don't leave me. Don't leave me here. Because you know that the next step for them is probably marriage and then the house, and then you see them once in a while and maybe even once a year, and you sort of kind of have to be okay with that because you have your life and they have their life. And I'm sorry, we're not going to be like tiptoeing around like, oh my gosh, I have to see you every single week or make this point, this intent to meet with everybody. And you know what? Some women out there, some people out there have that. And that is a jewel. But I look at what I have, and having a family like I do, that is my jewel. And that is something that I hold to myself and for myself. That's okay that it just might look different. And the love story and all these things, like all these stories that we tell ourselves and all these stories that we watch, like off campus. I haven't watched that yet, but I'm intrigued to watch it. Guys, it's okay if you don't find your relationship in college. It's okay if you don't find your friends in college. It's okay if you don't find your friends now, because you're changing and you can be in a whole kind of different chapter. Okay. I have grown up in so many different places that I have realized it doesn't matter. You have you. And I am careful with who I call my best friend. I don't call anyone my best friend, to be honest. I mean, I have one solid, I would say my long-term like childhood friend. She's the one that like, I know she's just there and she's known me since I was 14, 15. So it's, yeah, I have that one person, but no, I don't have 20 freaking people on my Instagram. I don't have 1,000 people that I'm going to call up. I don't know about them. Oh, hell no. I know maybe like 30 people max about what's actually happening. Not even 30, maybe even just like 10, 15 people that I know what's actually happening in their lives versus their close story. So I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to leave you that, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay that friendships look different. I don't have the words yet to describe how I'm going to process or deal with the grief. I just feel like I'm just gonna just have it with me. Like this is just something that we just have to learn how to have. And I mean, it's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. If you want to be friends with somebody, slide in their DM and just be like, hey, I think you're really cool. Let's just be friends. And I feel like more and more people would actually appreciate that. If you are interested in someone or like meeting into somebody, be okay with that. And if people say no or if people don't respond, it's okay. Like, that's okay. You have yourself and you are your best friend. And so it's like, if you are your best friend, what friends does your best friend deserve? And what are the people that you want? What are the habits? So much love. And right now, by the way, I've decided to strip down the podcast. I am just straight doing audio because I need to realize, I've come to this realization that I put the carriage before the horse, but I put the carriage before the horse and I was so focused on production, so focused on how it looks, so focused on the polishness and like what I'd wear and how I like looked when I spoke. And I was just so concerned about the lens where I'm just like, no, it's the voice. It's my voice that I'm learning to tune in. It's my message that I'm learning to speak out. So it's going to look different this next year. It's 1 year anniversary of AVA. I just want to put it out there. And it's my birthday this week. And what am I doing? I'm not on Thursday because my birthday's on Thursday. And I'm just like, it always comes with 4th of July. Always my birthday, which is okay. It's just like everyone is out and drunk. And I'm just like, this is not my vibe. And people with being in America right now is low-key, like a high-key dystopia. I don't know if I should be proud of being red, black, and blue. Red. I don't know if I should be proud of being red, white, and blue, or if I should, if it's okay of wearing those colors, because I don't want people to assume that I'm MAGA or that I'm okay with what's going on. But also, it's like, no, I'm just going to be with my family. Okay, guys, I have to go. But birthdays and friendships, oh my gosh, why? It's a testament. It's a testament. Who cares, really? But we don't have to go into that. There's just a lot of celebratory things and things moving. And so in this next year, my goal is to be consistent. My goal is to be less about production and polished and aesthetics and more about structure and the substance as to what OAVA is, because I've been trying to do it like all these other people, but also I'm comparing myself to people who are already established, or like looking at people like that. And it's like, that's where social media, I'm really like, I just maybe need to just stop it, because is this really growing my podcast? Because Spotify on its own, iTunes on its own, has its own growth, right? I'm just talking about my process in life. And I've listened to so many people about like doing research and having like anecdotes and having like a podcast that's like, okay, what do you take away from this? No, what would I say? Doing it and processing life at the same time, and cultivating a space where we can pause for a minute and be like, okay, yeah, no, me too. And we just continue. We just keep going on about our lives. But I hope you have a good week and go outside. Don't isolate yourself. Have a goal for this week to just go out with one person. And it doesn't even have to be a best friend. It can be an acquaintance, a coworker, something. Like, do something where you're outside in the sun, get some caffeine, go for a walk. And yeah, just appreciate what you have right now and who's around you, and check in on your friends, because the strong friends too need some love also. Okay? Bye, guys. And that's the wrap to OAVA. Bye.